Hello, and welcome to PCI Webinars. Today's webinar, the difference between discussion, debate, and dialogue, and how to use it to build healthy workplaces, with Andrew Sanderbeck. Andrew has been developing and conducting training programs for libraries and library organizations for more than 15 years. He has presented web-based, online, and face-to-face sessions on management, leadership, customer service, and communication skills in the U.S. and numerous countries around the world. Andrew is chairman of the board of the Haywood County Public Library in North Carolina. He's also a monthly donor to Every Library, which advocates for libraries everywhere that support is needed. Coming to you now from North Carolina, it's Andrew Sanderbeck.
Thanks, Ann. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our program. In the discussion area, if you would, but first of all, just give me a yes or no if you can hear me okay. And that will help me feel a little bit better about being far away from you. Yay. I love when technology works. Okay, so we're going to dig into it right away here. This is just a fascinating topic to me and really gets into how we frame our conversations. And so I want us to really, I think, to me, the main thing for today is awareness with this topic, and then look at application once we've created the awareness of the different frames that are out there. So we look at our conversations knowing that conversations are unique and can be, well, kind of like customer service. You never know what you're going to get one at a time. And so I want us to look at what's going on in our conversations and how can we maybe adjust ourselves or maybe even adjust the conversation to help us to be more productive and to help us to build healthier workplaces. So I'm going to cover debate, discussion, and dialogue today. But I want to talk a little bit about framing. So framing our conversation, what exactly does that mean, or to frame an issue? I want you to think about the metaphor behind the concept of framing. So frame, as I've got here with these pictures, focuses attention on the painting that it surrounds. So different frames would draw out different aspects of the work. So for example, if you put a painting into a red frame, that would bring out more of the red in the work. If you were to put the same painting in a blue frame, that would bring out more of the blue. So how someone frames an issue or frames a conversation will influence how others see it, with the goal here of focusing their attention on particular aspects of it. So framing is the essence of targeting a communication to a specific audience. And as we're going through the material, I want you to think about your boss. I want you to think about your colleagues. And we can, I frame this, correct, to be about healthy workplaces. But truly, we could look at this as well in regards to family, friends, and different conversations there as well. One thing I find really interesting about framing is that I think that the concept of it is pretty straightforward. But I'm always kind of interested to find that people, in reality, maybe don't do it as well as they could. So that's where I hope that this 30-minute program will, once again, as I said, raise awareness. And then from there, we can look at how do we apply this. So we'll start with debate. As I've got on there, debate is a verbal fight. The idea here is to win. So I may have a point of view that I feel very strongly about. I may have a belief system that I feel very strongly about. And once again, I don't want to go into one is better than the other because there are a time to use each of these three. There could be something that I truly want to debate about, where I'm really in the mindset of that I want to show you that I am right. And I want to show you that I am going to win. And I am going to blow up your facts and your figures and your thoughts on a topic. Okay, but just understand here that doing that means that we're normally playing win-lose. And I'm not sure that that's how we want to handle things the majority of the time. Next one I found really interesting when I started to research this, that a discussion is actually sometimes called a soft debate. Difference here being that it's really not about listening to my opponent or listening to my colleagues or listening to others. It's about still, in essence, asserting my beliefs. So we see this a lot in meetings. We see this a lot in one-on-ones that we have going on. So, my whole thing here is that I'm real interested in making sure that my feelings are known and that I'm going to make sure that you guys know what my beliefs are. The difference here is I'm not trying to win, which is what I would be doing if I wanted to debate with you. So I expect that you would see this framing going on a lot in your workplaces. And shoot, I even see it at home in what we're doing. So dialogue here is where I hope that we can take some of our conversations that are not productive, or take conversations where people are not really building relationships. And let's see if we can move everyone more to this direction. So dialogue means listening with an open spirit. There's no set idea. There's no winning here. It's about listening with an open mind, and it's about asking questions that lead to understanding. And maybe, as I've noted here, the hard part here could be to park our egos and just to listen with that open spirit. And this reminds me a little bit of Dr. Covey in 7 Habits, where he talks about seeking first to understand and then to be understood. So my goal here is to try to understand what the other parties are saying, or the other person. And then from there, hopefully, I will receive that openness from the other person as well. So a nutshell one here would be, what's the difference between debate and dialogue? And it's pretty extreme when you look at those two boxes. Words like finding flaws, being closed-minded, combative. Once again, there may be situations where that is the approach that you want to take or that I want to take. I just go back to, we're not building relationships there. And the situation could be one where I'm not trying to. But I think if we're going to be more productive in different things, and when we have disagreements, or we have people that have different ideas, that we should look more at dialogue for how we're going to do that. Got a book for you because, I love books. So you may want to check out Lee Stringer's The Healthy Workplace. It gets into more than just the areas that I'm going to cover today, but it does look at improving the well-being of the workplace and of our employees. And it's written in the mindset of boosting the company bottom line, which in my mind, in the library world, we have a bottom line as well. It's just not necessarily money. And we can all determine what our bottom lines are. So I want you to look at, which frame do you tend to use when you are having a conversation with someone that you don't agree with? Now, once again, I understand it's situational, but I love this quote that was actually from my daughter. So she is at the University of Florida right now in the veterinary program. And she attended one of the sessions that they had put on campus. And she is actually the one that started me really getting into and understanding more this topic for today of discussion, debate, and dialogue. Her big aha moment was that she realized that she tended to debate with people when she would see something differently or have a different opinion. And it was really quite an aha moment for her. It's something that I've noticed in conversation with her, that she wants to either really debate or she wants to discuss. It's about proving her point. It's about no, you have to see it how I see it. And so she said that this was a great awakening for her because it helped her to understand framing and to look at, is this really something that I need to debate? Is this really something that I need to assert? And maybe I could just be a better listener and listen to other people's opinions and maybe try to understand things from their perspective. I think that's a great aha moment for all of us, not only my daughter and what's going on. So I'm going to just run through these slides real quick. And I just want you to think about, when we're having a difference of opinion, when we're having different belief systems, when a bunch of people are throwing ideas out there. Love that quote from Eckhart Tolle, by the way. To me, awareness is the start of everything. So what frame does your boss tend to use most? And then let's go on to, well, which frame do your colleagues tend to use the most? Do we have a lot of listing going on? Or is it more about asserting our point? And I know your answer could be it's situational, but I use the word most there. I want you to think about more than one conversation that's going on and look at what is the tendency that we see in our meetings. What's the tendency that we see when we're brainstorming or when we're discussing ideas? And then what about this one? How could you change your frame to a dialogue? So I've got some application tips for you guys here. I love this whole concept of how might that be true? How might that be true? So to shift a conversation to more of a dialogue, and this is you doing the shifting for yourself, means that you're going to have to get out of your mind of wanting to assert or wanting to win. So let's say that we're in a brainstorming session and people are bringing up ideas. How many times have you heard, oh, that ain't ever going to work? Or, oh, well, we tried that before. What other ones have you heard? Go ahead and put that in the discussion area. Those are the two that just burn me. It's like, oh, that'll never work. Yeah, I never heard that before. And see, those to me are conversation enders. I really don't like those. I mean, where do you go from, that'll never work? Oh, we shouldn't do that. Oh, we've always done it like this. Yes, oh. I'd love to have some buttons made that said we've always done it that way with kind of like the Ghostbuster thing through it. You know, the circle and the line through it and pass that out. Yeah, we've already tried that. Okay, well, those are all things that are not going to frame any dialogue, for sure. So how might this be true is the mindset for us to put ourselves in when someone gives us an idea. When someone wants to brainstorm on something. Maybe they want to look at a process. Maybe they want to look at a procedure. Yep, we tried that a few years ago, so it won't work now. And you know how I love to answer that, Christy, is to say, that was a few years ago. Times have changed. So it may not have worked a few years ago, but we can look at it today. So, like many people, I kind of enjoy beating up and pressure testing ideas. But the idea here isn't to defeat the person. It's not personal. The idea here is to really look at getting an understanding of what these ideas are. And I love the bottom line here. Make sure that we're testing the idea and not attacking the person. So that's what you can do to frame your conversation into more of a dialogue. But let's shift. What about how can we help others? Maybe they're in a debate type of mode, or maybe they're in a more of a discussion frame. Okay, well, what can we help them to do, or how can we help them to shift more into a dialogue? Now, that once again, that's if you really look at the conversation and say, you know what, we could be much more productive if we could have a lot better session. We could build relationships if we took this out of debate or discussion. There may be some things that I want to leave in a debate. I like a good debate. I don't know about you guys. I love hearing people that want to assert their point and are going to want to win a conversation when it's appropriate. I just think that those are minimal in what we're doing. So I've got some different approaches here for you to look at on how we can help others to shift to a more solution focus in what we're doing. So take a look at those 3 questions. All right. So what is it that you see that I don't? And how do you see this differently and why? Love that. Especially the why. You know, tell me the why. That's what can really intrigue me. And please help me understand your perspective. Guess that's not really a question, right? More of a statement. All right, so a lot of times what I want us to be aware of is, especially in debate or in discussion, things can get really personal. And my goal is to stop that. So if I see things are starting to get personal, then I'm going to do my best to see if I can shift the group, the conversation, to more of a dialogue. And I may say, hey, Ann, tell me more about, how you see this. You see this differently than I do or we do. Tell me more about that. Tell us more about that and why and what we're doing. So remember, if it's getting too personal, there are tools that we can use. One is to put things up on a flip chart paper or put it up on a whiteboard so that it's more visual. One of the things that this does is that it causes a break, because there's going to be a break while someone is writing those things up there. And sometimes a break can be really good if things are getting a little bit heated. Also, if you are comfortable facilitating a conversation like that, then even better. And your goal then is to make sure that everybody's ideas are being explored and looked at while you are going into these conversations. Do you guys have any comments on either of these? Either with you shifting yourself or you shifting others? Any additional thoughts? Go ahead and put them in there, and let's see what you got. I saw Deborah's comment here about each of the questions lets the other persons know that we care to hear them. And I really do. I think a lot of this is that many times people want to feel heard. And if we are in more of that debate discussion frame, I don't know that people may feel like they have that chance. Gavin says, I like number 3. It comes off as less aggressive. Good. Okay. And I'll see if anything else is coming in, because I've got a little bit more that I want to cover with you during our time here. So I want you to be aware of something called the intelligence trap. And I've got a technique called PMI that I'd like us to look at as well. So the intelligence trap has to do with being trapped into one point of view. And I don't know if you guys have ever looked at Edward de Bono and the whole 6 thinking hats thing. By the way, give me a yes or no. Do you know about the 6 thinking hats? It's actually a pretty cool theory for you guys to look at. And what de Bono talks about here is that to put yourself in each of 6 different positions, perspectives, whatever that may be. So one of them could be, I could look at the idea from the hat of the director. I could look at the idea from the hat of a board member. I could look at the hat from the perspective of a county commissioner. I could look at it from someone working the circ desk. I could look at it from a page's perspective. So we then shift hats. So right now I'm the supervisor. Now I'm going to put on the director's hat. Well, what does this idea look like from that hat? And now you're the director, but now you're going to wear the supervisor's hat. What does that look like? It's a pretty cool exercise, something you might want to try. So here, be careful of getting caught in one opinion. Okay, it could have been your initial opinion and you're thinking, you know what, I'm supporting that position. Okay, but you could be missing an opportunity here to see things differently, to broaden your perspective, to broaden your thinking in what's going on. So next I want to get into what they call the PMI formula. And the PMI formula has us, this technique just looks at ways of expanding our thinking. So what we do here when we have someone that is presenting an idea, someone that's presenting their side of a situation, someone that's presenting a belief system about something, is to walk it through the 4 steps. So what are the plus points of the situation? What are the minus points of what they're saying? What are some of the interesting points that I would want to explore further? And de Bono says that you really should write these things down whenever possible. So once again, we're looking at what are the pluses or the positives, what would be the minus or the negative of a belief or of an idea, and then things that we would want to explore further. And one of the things that really captivated me about this technique was actually step number 4. Step number 4 was a reminder that this is not about just counting positives and negatives like a force field analysis. Okay, your decision needs to be based on a lot of what you find out in step number 3. So the shortcut here is to say, well, there's 7 positives and 3 negatives, so it must be a good idea. It could be a terrible idea that just has a lot of good positives, but the negatives outweigh them. So be careful with that. But I do like this, and the goal here is for us to expand our thinking and not get caught in what? The intelligence trap when we're doing that. All right, this is kind of one of my things about, there are some sayings that drive me crazy, and here's one of them. Practice does not make perfect. However, I think practice does make better. And that, to me, is good enough. There's a lot of things in life I'm never going to perfect. And I'll tell you, one of them is communication. All right, sorry. Got a little up on my little stoop there. All right, so practice this. Next time your colleagues approach you with a statement that you may not agree with, take a stab at doing more of a dialogue approach. Understand why they feel the way that they feel. Okay, and I really do believe that when we offer that interest, that we do want to listen to them, we do want to hear that they say, that they many times will give us the space to do the same. But if we go automatically into a debate, or if we take it more into, well, I want to prove my points in a discussion, the soft debate, I'm just not sure, number one, that people feel heard, and I'm not sure that that's really the best thing for the relationship. Now, once again, I understand there are some situations that debate and discussion are the approach that I'm going to take. If you have not downloaded the handout, I really hope you will. The handout is 3 columns that talks about what we try to do in each of the 3 discussion, debate, and dialogue. And I like to use this as a reference for me to remind myself of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish in the framing that I'm going to use. So if I'm looking to retain relationships or disregard relationships or build relationships, then I'm going to look at which of those 3 is best. If I am looking for a shared meaning in our dialogue and trying to gain more understanding versus looking for weakness in what you have to say or looking for solutions and answers, well, then I'm going to frame my conversation accordingly. If I want to share information, or if I just want to focus on right or wrong, or if I want to, this is, I think, a helpful tool for us. So before we begin the conversation, we can take a look at this and just decide what's our best approach. With that, I want to open it up, first of all, for you to tell me what's one thing you learned today that you think you can immediately use, and go ahead and put that in the discussion area. So one thing you learned today that you think you can immediately use. And then the other thing I'm going to ask is to go ahead also, if you have any questions or comments on the material that I shared with you today, please put them in. Ann, Brian, and I learn from you guys all the time. And I certainly appreciate the comments that you guys make. So I've got a comment here. I like the PMI technique. Okay, pluses, minuses. What else do I want to investigate? The questions to move people to dialogue. Nice. Nice. I try to give you guys things that you can apply. I'm not a fan of talking about just theory. I think we need application, or theory to me gets kind of empty on that. Try to understand where the person is coming from. And you will do that by shifting to more of a dialogue frame. Like all 3. The debate, discussion, and dialogue. Framing the conversation in its correct context, debate or dialogue. I got to tell you, Gavin, when I first saw this, I thought that discussion I thought that the definition of dialogue was discussion. And when I started to read more on this, I was like, wow, do I have that wrong? To me, discuss means to talk things through. Yeah, but I learned that also means that I'm still trying to assert what I want. All right, what else we got? Intelligence trap, a dialogue typo. Okay. I learned that those who use dialogue are those people I prefer to interact with. Nice, an important point. I really like that you clearly define the definitions of debate, discussion, and dialogue. Oh, nice comment, too. I thought discussion and dialogue were the same. Pretty much I did, too. And so that was a great learning for me as I put this material together for you guys. See, we got a couple more people typing in as well. I'll put up my thank you here with attending the program today. And remember, you can always email me if you have any follow-up. I'll go ahead and type in my email address here. Any advice if the person won't want to switch out of debate mode? Well, yes. Walk away. If you have someone that is not interested and all they want to do is prove a point, then I would say it may be quite okay just to walk away. Okay, I'm not here to debate you, would probably be the verbiage that I would use. If you'd like to have a conversation, I will stay. But I'm not here to debate. If you want to be right, you can be right, but I don't need to be here for that. And Gavin said walk away as well. All right, thanks, guys. Please, everyone, please be safe. Stay well. And we will see you at another one of our programs soon. So please take care.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. Very concise. Everybody likes it. And thank you all for attending. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again soon at another PCI webinar.